So this is how I made my book. I cut each one of my sheets 5.5 by 5.5. Then you have the binding, which puts the sheets together. Okay, so I've done all this but the last section. So what this is a piece of 1 inch by 5.5 inch. You take your piece, I put it down. I happen to have the score buddy here, and then I scored it like so. Then you take it and you fold it in half. Once you fold it in half, you want to apply your glue. And you can use a tape runner if you want to. You'll notice that I have folded it so the printed side is on the inside when I fold it together. The plain is on the outside. And that is because if you want to, you can kind of match up your pages for a little more cohesive look. Now, to get rid of wet glue on the outside, I usually just take a paper towel and just run down like so. And since I'm not using dry tape, I'm using wet, I have a little more leeway of moving things around and adjusting it, which I happen to like. So I'm just making sure it's out to the outside edge of my book here. Now this is going to get covered in a binding, so don't worry about this. But you want to make sure that your little one inch strip here, the folded edge, gets pushed up to this edge so that it's nice and even, okay? And then I'm going to just press that flat. You can take a bone folder and give it a better crease. Now this is the back flap to my book. So I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to put it on this side. Take my edge of my paper, line it up against that. And double check as you're lining up everything that it's all fitting. Your edges to worry about are out here, not back here so much, because this is where, if you're short, like this one is just a tiny bit short, so I'm going to make sure it comes out as well as I can out to this edge. But it was a scrap piece of paper and it was what I had left over. So you might be able to see that it does not meet the binding end over here, but that's okay. Like I said, this is going to get covered up. I just want to make sure that's glued there, and I want to make sure it's at least as close as it can be to out here on the edges and on this edge over here. Okay, then I open my book back up, and you'll notice you have this page. Now this is another way to use up scraps. So here is the page that doesn't fit the edge. So let's put this in first. And then I'm going to glue that in, again matching up. If something doesn't match, like I can see that's gone off the edge, I can always come back and trim that up with a pair of scissors. It's not a big deal. I'm going to hold my book this way so I can press that down without ruining the binding. And like I said, see, I knew this page was going to be a little bit smaller, so I'm going to trim that page off with scissors. If I was really good at measuring everything, I wouldn't have to do this step, but I'm not, so oh well. Alright. And see, by having those little flaps on the colored side, inside, you see how that matched up pretty well. I mean, it doesn't show. It's pretty seamless. So this is the only little piece of scrap that I have left over that matches this. So I'm going to put this here like so, line that up against this edge and this top right here, close my book, hold that in place, flip it over, take my pencil and make my mark, and then cut that off. And then come back here, and then I'm just going to line that up like that and glue that in, and do the same thing with that little corner there. Okay, this is where I get bad, because I really like, see how that is? I really like that, and I want that in the book, but I really wanted it, I think, up there, but too late. Alright, well, maybe we'll use that for another project, that little scrap. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through here, flip that over, mark where that is there. Okay. Let's see, I get so bad. I want that end down there. Okay, so if I couldn't have that other end, I like this end, so I'm going to put this down here. Yeah, this, you know, these are details that make a difference, I think. Alright. I can't help myself. Do that. Yeah. Okay, like that. And I can make a mark right here on the outside edge since that's such a little piece to pick up. And cut that off. And hopefully this is going to match. There we go. So that's a great way to fill in a whole page, even if you only have a little bit of scraps, because then we're going to lay the journaling paper over top of that. So that's going to cover that crease up anyway and the little corner here. But you'll never know that. Alright, so now our book is put together, and we just need to do some binding to cover up this end. So again, this is a 5.5 inch strip, and what I did is I put it so like this, and measured where that first crease should be. And you just take your pencil, you just mark it, go to something like your score buddy, and score down. So once you've scored your edges, you just come back and you put your book back like that, lay your binding across there, then take your book, put your binding back on that edge, again, mark where that's going to be, go back, score it, and then let's glue that together. So this is the front of the book, so I'm just going to put the glue on this edge and this edge. I'm not putting the glue on the back end. Now that you have all your pages in your book, the last thing to do is to add your watercolor paper. That's going to be used for your journaling. And this is 140-pound watercolor paper by Arches. And once you've added all your paper, you're done. And you get to do your art journaling. So for whoever who would like to stay with me, I'm going to be doing a watercolor fern.